Hello, everyone. My name is Anderson Ferreira. Today, I will present the paper titled When Innovation is Not Enough, Urban Living Labs Between Genuine Co-Governance and Quantified Marketing, developed in collaboration with Professor Gilson. Our study analyzes urban living labs. The central thesis is straightforward. Not all technological or urban innovations result in genuine improvements to quality of life or environmental protection. Driven by this premise, our research seeks to identify the conditions under which these laboratories generate tangible public value as opposed to instances where they function primarily as platforms for marketing technology projects. Many cities invest in sensors, digital platforms, information systems, and other technologies. However, the use of these technologies does not always produce better results for society and the environment. There is a gap between technology investment and public benefits. On one side, we have equipment, systems, and indicators. On the other side, we expect better quality of life, lower environmental impact, and more efficient use of resources. The problem is that this connection does not always happen. It depends on who chooses the problems, who defines the indicators, and who receives the benefits. Therefore, our research question is under what conditions can urban living labs produce real evidence of cleaner production? To answer this question, we developed a theoretical essay based on a literature review. The search was carried out in the Scopus database and included studies published between 2020 and 2025. The initial search found more than 38,000 records. After selecting and reading the studies, we reached a final group of 63 articles. The analysis connected three topics: governance models, urban living labs, and ways to measure cleaner production. Based on these studies, we examined how technology, public participation, and local government can produce clear and measurable social and environmental results. The first result is related to participation and decision-making power. The models shown on this slide include government, universities, companies, citizens, and environmental groups. However, bringing all these groups together does not mean that they have the same power. When the local government has a weak role and only responds to requests, companies may take control of the project. In this situation, private interests may become more important than local needs. On the other hand, when the local government coordinates the process, it can create rules, organize resources, and connect innovation with the city's problems. Therefore, participation does not mean only being present. It means having a voice and the power to influence decisions. The second result shows the difference between real participation and participation that only appears to be real. In real participation, citizens are involved from the beginning. They help identify problems, choose solutions, and define the results that should be measured. The tests also take place in real situations in the city. In apparent participation, specialists create the solution first. After that, citizens are invited to test the product, provide information, or approve a proposal that is already finished. In this case, participation helps promote and support the project, but it does not change the main decisions. Co-governance exists when citizens can help define the problem, the solution, the indicators, and how the benefits will be shared. The third result shows that creating indicators is not the same as producing evidence of public benefit. Indicators can measure energy consumption, pollution, water use, and waste generation. This information is important, but it is not enough. We also need to ask who selected these indicators. Are the data public? How will the results be analyzed? And who will receive the benefits? The Quayside project helps us understand this problem. The project promised a 15% reduction in urban living costs. However, there was not enough clear evidence to confirm this promise or explain how the benefits would be shared. Therefore, without public participation and public control, numbers may be used more as advertising than as evidence of benefits for society. Our study presents three conditions for urban living labs to produce public benefits. The first is municipal control over technology. The local government needs to maintain control over the data, the systems, and the evaluation rules. The second is the joint selection of indicators. Citizens and groups affected by the project should help decide what will be measured and how the results will be evaluated. The third is the fair distribution of benefits. The evaluation needs to show who receives the benefits and who takes the costs and risks of the project. These three conditions can transform urban living labs into spaces for participation, testing, and the production of reliable results. Without them, these laboratories may increase the gap between technological promises and real results. Future studies can compare experiences in global south countries, especially in cities that depend on technologies developed outside their local context. To conclude, technology alone cannot solve urban problems. Urban living labs can produce real public benefits when citizens participate in decisions, local governments maintain control over data and technology, and the results are evaluated in a clear way. Thank you for your attention.